Welcome to the Super Physique GC unboxing. It's super because we are getting an exclusive look at the 2018 Physique range, but then it's also super because of the sheer magnitude of it. We've actually had to split it and make two videos. In one, we've been looking at these, the 2018 Physique shoe range, but then in this one, we're looking at saddles. And this being GC unboxing, we are still giving you the opportunity to win, even though some of this stuff isn't even in the shops yet. 5 of you, 5, will be receiving your choice of saddle and shoes. Oh yeah. Now, I will tell you how you can enter towards the end of this video, but if you have just come from watching a video about these shoes, I hope you're not quite at fever pitch yet, because we have got all of these rather inviting looking boxes to check out. There's a lot of saddles and lots of new stuff in both the men's and the women's specific ranges. Although there are loads of new products, you will be pleased to hear, I'm sure, that your old favourites are still here. The Arione, the Antares, the Aliante, and also the women's specific, the Luce. Whoa, look at that. They're all available in a regular or a wider size. The choice would depend on the size of the rider and also the power output of the rider. And then most of them are also available in 3 levels. So the R3, the carbon railed R1, and then the top of the range 00. How are you going to know then which one might be the best for you? Well, Physique have famously devised a way for you to very quickly and very simply know which of these saddles you might find the most comfortable. It's called the spine concept system, and the idea is that the flexibility in your hamstrings and also your lower back determines the position of your pelvis when you sit on the bike. So for the most flexible riders out there, the Arione is likely to be the most comfortable with its long and flat profile. However, for the least flexible riders out there, the Aliante is likely to be the most comfortable because that curved profile is going to allow that rider to tip their pelvis forward very comfortably and therefore reach the handlebars more easily. And then for those riders somewhere in the middle, you have this, the Goldilocks saddle, the Antares, which mixes a bit of Arione and a bit of Aliante. And you can see that there is just a slight dip on that profile there. For anyone who suffers any kind of pressure-related perineal discomfort, there are additional options. We've got the Versys Evo, and the Open range. Now, both perform similar functions. You can see that the centre line of the saddle has been removed and replaced with this cutout. Some riders find it more comfortable. It's all down to personal preference. This one is the Versys Evo, and you can see that there is quite a significant gap between the two areas of padding there. Despite the look though, the shell is one piece of carbon reinforced nylon, but the cover has actually been changed slightly for this year. So Physique are calling it their Comfort Core technology. And the idea is that the padding and the fabric cover are no longer glued together. So they've changed the way it's constructed, and they say that increases the elasticity of the cover, and that further improves comfort. Now, you might not think by looking at it that there's all that much in the way of padding on this saddle, but crucially, if you give it a good squeeze, there you go, you see that? There is an awful lot of controlled flex from the shell, and that, in my mind anyway, is the really comfortable bit. This one, the Open, obviously shares similar technology. The channel is ever so slightly narrower, but then there's a hole in it. Yeah, that's right. And you can see by the look of it that there is ever so slightly more padding over the whole of the saddle, although actually where you sit, the difference, I don't think, is all that significant. It's no more nor less comfortable than the other one, it's just different. However, there is one, I think, slight difference as well, and that is that the shell is ever so slightly more rigid. The women's specific road saddle is this one, so the Luce. Now it's the same name as before, but with a new construction. So it differs from the men's saddles because this is actually made out of 3 pieces, the shell. So the idea behind it, physiques say, is that it allows at the same time both stiffness and also flexibility. So the central section here is made from carbon reinforced nylon, so that gives you that kind of lateral stiffness and support. But then the edges of the saddle are actually made from a thermoplastic elastomer, so they are much more flexible and they allow the saddle to effectively conform to the rider's body shape whilst pedaling. The choice that you have in terms of the level of the saddle in the whole physique range is, as I mentioned earlier, the 00, which is a super top-end saddle. It's available on the Arione, the Antares and the Aliante. And that's got carbon rails and a full carbon shell. And the Arione and the Antares weighs just 140 grams. The Aliante, being slightly more padded, is a little bit heavier at 160 grams. Not much in it there. Then if you go one down, you've got the R1. So these are the ones which have got braided carbon rails. And then those are then attached to this, which is a carbon reinforced nylon shell. A little bit heavier, but not much. The Antares and the Aliante, again, about 170 grams. And then lower down, you've got the R3 range. So these don't have carbon rails. These have got a Kiam alloy. So those you may find a little bit more flexible, which is definitely not necessarily a bad thing, and also a little bit more weight. So about 40 grams extra across the range. Right, I think you probably have all the information you need now in order to make an informed decision. Which of these saddles and which of the shoes would you most like to receive through the post? Because if you enter the competition, that is exactly what might happen. To do so, there is, as ever, a link in the description beneath this video. Once you've entered, you can then choose which ones you would like to win. And I probably don't need to say, but I will anyway, if you choose an Arione 00 and these ones that I've been keeping warm, the Infinito knit, you have just as much chance of winning as if you choose an R3 saddle and an R5B shoes. So go nuts. I definitely would. Now, before leaving this video, do make sure you subscribe to GCN. We've got some great unboxings coming up, so do make sure you're in the right place for that. And then more content. We've actually got 3 videos about Physique 2018 range in total. Firstly, we've got the GMBN one, so if you're a cyclocross rider like me, or a cross-country rider like me, then definitely worth a look, particularly the shoes, might I say. And then, of course, you've got the road shoe video as well, so do make sure you check that one out as well.